is ZeBirdBrain, and today we are talking about paperless animation. As some of you know, one thing I really love about Harmony is how crafty and practical the palette system is. Yeah, I know sometimes it's a bit hard to understand how it works, and sometimes we can get in some sort of pickles with it, but honestly, if you get the time to learn how it works, it's actually a very, very useful tool. So today I'm gonna show you how I use it to animate. So if some of you watch some of my streams, you might know that I always use different colors when I animate different parts of my characters. Of course, if it's just a still frame and just the mouth is moving, you put it on another layer. But when I animate like a full action scene or like lots of movement, I do prefer to keep everything I can on the same layer, rather than have like 500 layers per character. A layer for the body, a layer for the eyes, a layer for the pupils, a layer for the mouth. I just think that for me it gets very confusing because you have so many layers to take care of, and I think kind of breaks away my flow when I need to switch layers. So I'd rather keep most of what I can on the same layer. But that's just me. So if you're a bit like me and you would prefer to use only one layer, or you're just curious about the way I do things, well, stay tuned because I will explain to you how I use the different color palettes as well as the select by color tool. So when I animate, so if this is my character, and at some point I just look at my animation and I'm like, the nose is kind of wrong. Well, if I was working in bitmap, then I would need to kind of take the cutter and try to cut the beak, and it's freaking annoying. So I always work in vectors or textured vectors or something like that, because then I could like carefully try to pick up most of the mouth, but then it's hard because sometimes you like to sculpt our lines and stuff. But it still works with the select tool, but then I do prefer to use the select by color tool. So select by color is very useful. Basically what it does, it will select every line that has that color. So if I click on the pupil, it's going to select both of them. If I click here, it's going to select everything of the same color. If I click on the beak, it's going to select everything with the beak. If you have a very thin line, I might recommend that you use the easy drag mode, because if you don't, you absolutely need to click on the line to move them, and sometimes it's a bit hard, but it's still manageable. So if you have a very thin drawing style, you might want to use the easy drag mode, which means that you can click anywhere in the box to move your stuff. So basically this is why I use different colors for different elements of my drawing. So then if I think that maybe the eyes are not right, I can just click on the eye color here, so I select both. And you can also shift click to select multiple, or shift click again to deselect multiple. And then I can just adjust the eyes and move them a little bit. Of course, I'll use the normal select tool to select things like the hair because it's the same color of the body, but the hair is usually pretty simple to get. So if I want to make my character look up, I can just take my different features and kind of warp them and push them. But for the eyes, instead of having to be careful in selecting all the strokes, I can just use the select by color and get what I want, like bring the eye up, maybe bring the beak up, maybe move the beak. So like what I consider different pieces, I just draw them different colors. I think it's quicker than having to move between layers and whatnot. And also these different colors, you can map them to tool presets. If you don't know what a tool preset is, I have a video about it. But basically, I'll be able, for example, to go take the pupil color and make a little tool preset here. I'll remove the tool and just keep the color. It'll appear here, and do the same with any of the other colors. So here I have my pupil color that I can use to draw my pupil, and here I have my beak color that I can use to draw my beak. And of course you can set these to shortcuts if you're curious. So that's how I use it. So not only can you use it on this frame, but if I make also like an FX animation, I can say like this is like a little smoke that goes up like that, and maybe I want to add like another color so that they go to different speed. Something like this. So then it's all in the same layer, so it's very easy to handle. But if I want to change the trajectory, you can use the select tool and either use the apply to all frame or apply to onion skin range. I have a video about that as well if you want to look it up. So then if I want to get my blue colors and I want them to be maybe like more to the left, I can use my select by color and my apply to all frames, for example, and I can click here and it will select my animation across multiple frames, so I can maybe squash it or stretch it. So it's very useful to do effects, because then since they're by colors, you can just edit them very easily in your shot. So yeah, that's why I use different colors in my animation. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you again next week for more knowledge.